Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. This is the April 14th, 2016 meeting of the East Fishkill Town Board. This is a Town Board work session, whereby the Town Board gets to meet and discuss matters of importance to the town. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. A couple of announcements for the evening. First, at the last town board meeting, we are often questioned, gentlemen questioned us on our bonds, and I was making an example of the Fishkill Plains water system, which we purchased, and the bonds that we put out to purchase the water system and the improvements we did to the water system. I think I had a bottle of the water that was pretty disgusting. That was the water that was being treated after we purchased it. And I mistakenly said that water is being served to 2 schools. And I think I said Gayhead. To be honest with you, the 2 schools that were affected in the Fishkill Plains water system are Fishkill Plains School and Van Wyck Junior High School. And what had happened was they were getting that water, and they were actually using bottled water for quite a few years. So we changed over, we purchased that system, and now they're using the water from the system, saving the schools a lot of money. I just want to clarify that, though. I think I said Gayhead, and it was Van Wyck and Fishkill Plains. Second, I do want to make a mention, Hillside Lake update. Had a conference call with DC and some representatives from the governor's office about 2 weeks ago, and we had submitted a formal appeal to their decision to deny our grant application. A very difficult discussion ensued as far as our appeal. They have 60 days to decide if they're going to accept it. They gave us some very strict guidelines why we'd have to prove engineering-wise that we could achieve, I forget what it was. It was a change in the water level in Fishkill Creek. It was very complicated. And when we hung up, I just did not get a positive feeling about our conversation, but they will take a look at our appeal, and they have 60 days to respond, so we'll see what happens with that. In the meantime, we do have our application up to the DEC for the grant for $647,000 for the water filter project. Unfortunately, DEC's website has been down for at least a week or so now, so we're waiting for them to finish processing it, so that way we can get we can't really do anything with that project till we get the contract from DEC. We also were notified that we were possibly going to get $128,000 through Sue Serino's office from New York State. We submitted the paperwork about 2 weeks ago for that, and that seemed to be very, very probable that we're going to get that. So I'd like to thank the senator on that. So what happens if we don't get the $2 million grant? We can't dredge the lake. Looking at the alternatives, we'll move forward with the filter system. But I think one of the other things, and one of our friends from Hillside Lake has been doing a lot of research, and we've been talking with a company that actually we talked to back in 2010. Back in 2010, members of the Hillside Lake Board at that time and some members of the town board and this representative from this company, we met in the planning office and discussed possibility of them coming out and doing hydro raking. We thought we had a good plan. Unfortunately, next day, the members of the board at that time told me they did not wish to proceed. But since one of our friends in Hillside Lake actually contacted this company, again, they're out of New Jersey, and I've been emailing back and forth with the gentleman, and he's very good. Excuse me, so we'll be looking into that, because I think one of the things, if we can't dredge the lake, we need to remove lily pads. I think that's first and foremost. Clean it up, get it looking better, have the filter working, and see where we go from there. Unfortunately, there's still a lot of challenges, but it does seem to be a path to accomplishing that. So I just want to make that note. And again, thank Senator Serino's office for their help. 2 things I do also want to say is, we just started circulation, what they call lead agency. It's from SEQA, State Environmental Quality Review Act. We just put out lead agency for the project, 30 days, and then the town board hopefully will be appointed lead agent in that, and things are actually moving along, just waiting on DEC. And if they get their website back up, it would be very helpful. So that's where we are with that. That being said, excuse me, we're going to open the work session. First item of discussion is discussion on recreation opening day. Our highway superintendent, Bill McClellan, is here with us. Bill, would you like to come up? And I think Bill, our rec director, would you guys want to come? I just want to get a little feedback on how opening day went. We have a couple chairs here, and I would just like to say that what I've seen, all the work out in the field is going very well. Councilman Franco, have you gotten any feedback from the leagues?
Oh, I've gotten plenty of feedback from the leagues. First, I'd like to say thank you to Billy and his men for all the hard work that you guys have performed, and women, for all the hard work that you've done to get opening day going on time and to get the kids out on the field. I know it was a pretty cold day that day, but regardless, everything was open, and I had a lot of positive feedback from soccer and from baseball. One thing I do want to mention, in soccer was open on time in East Fishkill. The following towns were not. In Goshen, they had closed all fields. Highland, their Nardone field was closed. Delano Hitchin, Newburgh was closed. Hamptonburg Park closed. All of Orange County fields closed. Town of Poughkeepsie, Greenville Park was closed. Airport Park and Rockingham Park and Wappingers closed. And more importantly, Stringham Road in LaGrange, which many soccer parents and coaches have come and said, they use them as an example that our field should be like theirs.
Wow.
They were closed. East Fishkill was open. We had opening day on time here in East Fishkill.
Very good.
So
very
thank
good.
you very much, Bill.
Yeah. Not like last year. I don't know how much snow we had on opening day last year,
was
but
tough.
last year was a tough one.
It was a little cold this year, but the kids were able to.
And the snow missed us, so that was a good thing. But when I did walk through the park on opening day, everybody was out there having a good time, so we appreciate all the work, and the fields looked very good. So I'd like to tell you how much we appreciate that. And Bill, I got to tell you, just to let you know, though, I appreciate all the work your office does for scheduling and putting things together and making sure things operate correctly. You do a great job.
Well, John, I'd like to, since I have an opportunity, I know most of you people here. I don't know all the people in the audience, but I'd like to just give a little background about a few things, and I just want to make one statement about not just opening day, but recreation. As I said, I've known most of you. I've been the rec director now for 38 years. I believe I'm the longest employed worker in the town. For 38 years, I've been a part-time employee, so is Tina in my office. We get no benefits, we get no overtime. I've continued to take this position because I love working with all ages, preschoolers to senior citizens, which I'm definitely one myself. I love sports, I love competition. I've, over the years, come to board meetings with proposals and requests that I felt would benefit the residents of this town. I've continued to put in extra hours without pay because I enjoy what I was doing. Over the years, our recreation programs, activities, events, and facilities have continued to improve. They've improved a great deal this year. I agree with that. Our summer camp, our senior citizen program, Red Wing Park, our summer concerts, our bus trips, our numerous sports activities are second to none. Over the years, through the boards, we've hired excellent, outstanding individuals. A Joyce Maroney for a summer camp, a Skip Rodkamp who started Red Wing, Sue Gartner with the seniors. These people have kept the programs going and going well. They set up programs and so on. In my capacity as director, I've always promoted open communication with staff and residents. We've always stressed safety with all our programs and facilities, and thankfully have had only minor mishaps over the 30-plus years. This year, our rec maintenance department was abolished and is now part of the highway department. This change in no way should affect the needs of our various recreation programs, which have not changed. Many areas that were part of recreation maintenance have been sent to our department. Many changes have taken place that are most beneficial to our town and our recreation program. Areas that needed cleanup have been greatly improved. And although change is good, there's still many areas where what worked for years we feel should continue to be used unless we come up with a better situation. And I'd like to thank Rick Kronizer, who's been extremely cooperative as the foreman. Now, one of the things I want to mention out of this is in my job and in any job, be it elected or appointed, you're going to get praise, you're going to get criticism. For example, I could hear, it was a great concert last night, and the next day someone will say, who hired that crappy band? or it was a great workout last night, or that instructor's horrible.
We feel your pain. We get the same thing.
Super play we went to last night, and with seniors, they're tough. That show was terrible. Great time we had at Red Wing last week. Why the hell did you close the beach so early? Love your community center. That building's too damn small. And finally, you know, you're doing a great job of recreation. I think it's time you packed it in. The point I'm trying to make is, whichever job you have, I think you have to take the accolades, but I think you also have to put up with the criticism. As far as opening day, I think everything went well. The fields look good. There were some problems. I will tell you now that Red Wing Park, the gazebo area, the fields are excellent. They've got a lot of work that was done. I will say, because not just me, but other people, I think too many trees were taken down in the rec park. And I think the borders that we had, they kept the walking path in the areas secluded, and I think we took away too many. I hope that could be rectified in the future.
One of the points I would point out, though, sometimes some of the people said to me, too, security is important. And with having that, so that's, but understood.
But seeing the trailers and so on that we never saw.
Well, that's over there on that side, yep.
All right. The other thing, and I saw it again tonight for maintenance, the maintenance people put rocks along there so cars couldn't park, which is good. But as you know in Saucon very well, people don't like to walk, and now with the rocks, the cars are still parking behind them, and they're parking the other side, and the traffic cannot go north and south. The one has to pull over, or it's very tight.
What is that, in the McGrath Field?
Right here behind fields 3 and 4. I saw it. I went on opening day. I went to soccer.
Okay.
I went to field, the T-ball. I went to the senior field, the big guys. I went over here in 3 and 4, and the games are going well and so on. The parking behind 3 and 4 is one thing, and a couple other points we mentioned too. To keep these programs going smoothly with all the new work that's done in the field, we need a second person on the night shift. This was brought up before, and I've spoken to the guys, and Frank does a heck of a job, but he can't do it all by himself.
And we've discussed that, and the season gets going, having that second person. Okay. And, you know, one of the things, Bill, I would point out, you know, obviously we did away with the field maintenance division, moved that over to highway, and it did change some responsibilities. And your office actually absorbed some of the responsibilities also that you weren't doing. Now you're doing some things too. And it's really a learning curve. And I think, you know, we'll get through all these little bumps in the road and everything, and I think communication is a very big.
Communication is important because, again, this came up at our rec meeting, it came in a meeting with you.
Yeah.
The idea of having the fields open at all times is great. I mean, there were times when the fields were closed when they should have been open, but I think, again, the good with the bad, there are times when you have to announce early in the afternoon, the weather is bad, I don't think it's going to be better, so the people that are traveling long distances, so I'm mentioning it here. Outwardly, I'm not putting my laundry on the line.
I just want to say, because I have had that, I got the same phone call, but I have yet to talk to the highway supervisor about that, and I do intend on talking to him about it. But I'm the one who has been really pushing for keeping the fields open all the time, because I want the kids out there to play as much as possible.
Well, and I thought the conversation was that it would be appropriate for the officials, the coaches and everything, when they go there, to make the determination if the field is playable, they play on it, if it isn't. So therefore, I guess with this glitch, wouldn't it be incumbent on the leagues to have a system that their coaches could check in on? Because we're encouraging them to make the decisions about the field.
We started last year, and we did keep the fields open as much as we can. The problem that they have, and I know because I am an official, is that at 3 o'clock, the officials are told the game is on. And if a storm comes down or it's bad weather and you're going to try and get in, they're going to get paid. And the big field one, they're going to pay good money. And the leagues are concerned, you know, 2-3 days in a row, they show up and we can't play.
But if there's a weather condition that happens after 3 o'clock, we can't.
I think it's time for me to speak up.
Yeah, but that's just something we can discuss. But again,
it's something that we can definitely work out.
I think it's time for me to speak up a little bit.
Yeah.
First of all, hopefully people have listened to the recording, because on Tuesday, when we did have our weather event, it indicated that the soccer was opened, and the baseball grass was opened, and the clay was saturated. So that was Tuesday. And if you listen to the recording right now, it says, please, all the kids, please play because everything's beautiful out there. So the recording is being taken care of.
Good.
Okay? So basically, I think is all you have to do is really listen to the recording. I've talked to different coaches. Yes, there's no doubt whatsoever that they're taking upon themselves to manage how they play. And as far as paying the umpires an exorbitant amount of money, the umpires get paid $35.
Umpires get paid $130 for
I
field
was
one.
told by the gentleman of the umpires
That's the
that,
kids.
Yeah, those are the kids.
I was told by the gentleman from the umpires that they get $70 when they umpire a game, and if the game is canceled, when they're there, they've shown up, the game is canceled, they get 35. Now, that's from the boss of the umpires.
The
But-
boss of the umpires was in
Excuse
my
me.
office,
Excuse me
and
1 second. So, bottom line is, please listen to the recording, everybody, and then you'll hear Rick Kronizer's great voice on there, telling everybody to go out and have a great time.
He's got a singing voice.
He is
We'll work
singing,
it out. These
absolutely.
are the little bumps that we just have to work out.
And we can work it
Yeah,
out.
absolutely, absolutely, Bill. But you get the scheduling part, you get the schedules, and,
I also
understand.
get phone calls.
And you get the phone calls,
Lights
yeah.
weren't on, the
Yeah.
community center door is locked,
Yeah.
But as far as the umpires, this woman that came in, and
Mm.
her concern, her exact words were, on field one, which is the older ones, the umps get $130. If we go 3 games in a row where they show up and we can't play, that's $390, and
Okay,
they're concerned about money.
But I think that we are using the phone, so I think we'll be in good shape.
Well, I said, if
and-
the leagues can work it out, fine,
yeah.
that'll save a lot of people work.
Oh, I think this is going to work just fine. Just give a little more time, and like I
No.
said, communication.
Mr. Kronizer, and maybe I didn't say it correctly, but Rick Kronizer, who is the highway foreman in charge of the parks at this time, puts on the recorder at 3 o'clock,
Nope, you said it.
exactly Tuesday when we had inclement weather, exactly what was open and what wasn't open.
Understood?
And
You
that the clay fields are saturated. Today, if you listen to it,
Good, no.
it says
you-
everything's open, everybody have a great time.
Yeah, no, you made that point very clear.
So,
Monday, we had 3 calls from soccer wanting to know why it wasn't going to be updated, so I'm glad it's being
Well,
updated now.
no, it's
It
being
wasn't-
updated, Bill, and this is just, we're going to work out the bumps, so that's not a big deal. But I got to say, I think everything is going well, and I think the field's going well, and these little things will work out. All right?
Okay. And
At a rec board meeting, you got to talk to the league people about it to try to come up with a plan.
we have.
Yeah.
We have.
And they- and
there were
they-
some things were stated at the rec meeting that I think were not clear.
Okay.
Because one statement was, we'll be open every day unless there's a hurricane.
Well, I think that
Absolutely.
goes back to our policy that we would
And
like
that
to
was
see.
it, and-
I think that goes back to the policy where we'd like to see the kids use the fields as much as
Absolutely.
possible.
You know,
But we'll be fine.
we're fortunate that we have irrigation here, so I think the fields get wet. And yes, the children play on wetter fields on occasion.
No.
And, soccer, my son, when he played soccer 20 years ago, it was snowing. We had to broom off the lines to see the white lines.
Yeah. No, understood.
children play.
The only thing one change I would say is we'd like to see the kids using the fields more often, is that we're actually saying you can use the grass part where, as if it's a little bit wet, at least they can come out and practice, which is one of the big, because I remember last year when we had all the snow, they were practicing in the parking lot because there was nothing available.
Opening
so-
day was parking lot.
Yeah. So, no, I think it's going very well. We'll work out the little bumps, and I just want to thank you both for your work.
And
You
the thing
do a
about-
very good
The thing
job.
about the parks, yes, there's no doubt that the teams and the players are a big portion of our parks.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have the seniors, and we have, the people who walk their dogs, the people who just walk, the people who are fishing.
Mm-hmm.
So not only have we gotten just the fields done, but we've tried to manage everything and get everything brought up to par. Now, as far as the walking paths, we had some seniors complain to us that they don't like to walk there by
Oh, I know that.
themselves.
Yeah.
Because they're worried about some kind of security problem. Do I have a security problem walking around our parks? Absolutely not. But maybe an older woman that, didn't
no.
want to walk alone. So we said, what would you like? She says, I'd like the place opened up.
No, I understood, and
problem.
I think I mentioned that. No, I think we're in good shape.
Right. So.
Very good. I'd like to thank you
And as
both.
far as the trees that all came down, all the trees that came down were on the hazard list generated by the DEC grant money
Yeah.
for all our park systems.
Some of them were the critical trees that
They
had
were
to
the
come
critical
down.
trees identified by our grant from the DEC
Yeah.
to identify all the hazard trees in our parks, and that's what we're taking down.
No, we're fine with that.
And then they're all mulched up, and we made mulch and reused it back in our parks.
Bill, you said that Frank might need additional help.
Last year, we put a 1 to 9 shift So there'd be a second person because Frank does community center, he locks up Limekiln, goes to Breadview, and he mows, he does work.
And it gets very busy
Yeah.
at that time of day.
And once we're into the heart of the season, well, I'll give you an example. Softball, men's softball and women's softball, both paid some money this year, you know the fee. They want their fields lined. In between, the kids play, then the adults play. Both men and women want it. Well, if there's only one person on at night,
Yeah,
it's impossible.
yeah.
You just can't, it's.
And we
so it's-
started that a few years ago with a kid named Doc, who we brought him in.
And then Ryan, I believe.
And it
was.
worked out very well, so we'll,
That's a request I'm making that I think will
yeah.
keep everybody happy.
Okay,
because-
we'll certainly take a look at it, and I think we should have a meeting possibly next week. We sit down and talk about some of these things, maybe Monday or Tuesday, if you were both
Well,
available.
fortunately, Rick, who right now manages the parks, and myself and Frank sat down the other day and had a little discussion about, coverage in the evening time. And that's where it starts. It fortunately or unfortunately doesn't start at the top and go down and get, pushed down. It starts at the bottom, exactly what our needs are, what his duties will be was also discussed. So he's not picking up a lawnmower and throwing it in the back of a truck and going mowing the police station, because that's what we can do during the day.
Okay, well then, if you would let us know.
Well, again, it's a
like to
discussion that
sit down.
has been happening.
Yeah.
And, this is the first I've been told that we need a second person that's,
I
That's
think
not
we,
true.
no,
We-
we-
I
no,
said
no,
that's
no,
true.
excuse me.
That's not
Let me-
true.
Can I
No,
finish,
no, we did
please?
discuss this a little bit at the meeting
Can I
a
finish,
couple
please?
weeks ago. Yeah,
This is the first I've been told that we're gonna have another discussion about a second person. We're trying to manage what we have.
that's fine.
I have a certain amount of dollars I can use for seasonal people,
Mm-hmm.
and we're trying to manage it. Now, with reorganizing Frank's duties, I believe that we can manage it during the interim.
Good. So if we could meet and talk about it next week, I'd be thrilled.
Absolutely.
We did discuss this at the,
Oh, no, I
am
know we
losing
did.
my memory? We
No,
brought this-
Bill, we discussed that a couple
Okay,
weeks ago.
he
Yeah.
just said we
No,
didn't.
no, we all discussed it
Listen, I
among
thank
many
you.
things.
I am going to continue doing what I've been doing, and I hope we can get along, get everything going.
Yep.
But the programs we're running are running fine, and I just hope the things that are said in meetings are not forgotten.
No, we'll work
Thank
this
you.
all out. Thank you, Bill.
The rec director, do you still do the umping and the reffing?
Yes.
Am I
Okay.
done?
Yep, thank you very much, Bill. All righty. We have a couple little things to work out. Number two, I did want to make a mention, because a lot of people have been calling about brush drop-off. We've put out an RFP. I told the board that we're going to put out a request for proposals, because our brush drop-off site across the street is no longer ours. So we sent out RFPs to 3 companies located in the town of East Fishkill that have property, and hopefully we'll get a response. I want to schedule to have the brush drop-offs because somebody else is going to be doing it the month of June and the month of October. We've always done 2 months a year, so I think that that would probably be appropriate. So hopefully we'll be able to award this at the end of this month. We'll see what the proposals come back. And last but not least, on the agenda, I want to talk a little bit about water and sewer for economic redevelopment zones. Back in 2004, town of East Fishkill, town board passed economic redevelopment zone modifications to our laws to encourage redevelopment in the, basically, the Route 52 IBM, now Global Foundries, and the IBM West complex, which is now owned by Linnell and Asadi, the Dome Company. And there seems to be some interest by Global Foundries. They're before the planning board the other night to discuss a 3-lot subdivision, which would actually make 300 acres available to, if anybody's who wanted to come in and redevelop it. But that along by itself, because we're in an industrial zone, industrial zones need water and sewer. So we're going to talk a little bit tonight about what we're going to be doing in the future as far as water and sewer over there. The Global Foundries has a 6 million gallon a day sewer plant, of which they're probably using 2 million gallons a day capacity. And we have an immediate need, not very immediate, but in about the next year for the Dome. Dome needs to hook into that. As you see, as everybody sees, the large piles of dirt over there in 52, the sports dome is being built. So we were working with Global Foundries to tie into their sewer, and with this subdivision, it created a lot of new opportunity. So we're looking at the sewer, and also we have a need for water down in that area of town. We've tried, we've looked for sources of well fields. We couldn't find any, but Global Foundries does have a contract with the county for water, and they've agreed to possibly let us, give us an allotment from theirs, or possibly work out a deal where we would take over the whole assignment. So again, when you do economic redevelopment, you need to provide water, central sewer, and that's what we'll talk a little bit about tonight. Now, Tom, if you would like to explain a little bit, talk about sewer, about Transportation Corporation, because we're going to be voting, in sometime next several months on the Transportation Corporation.
Okay, well, whenever sewer service is provided privately, since the IBM site was developed, as long as it's one owner, they had their own treatment facility, they operated, they're responsible for it. Once they divide the property, and if there are other uses, or if we want to connect to it, the law requires that it be converted to what's known as a Sewerage Transportation Corporation. And we've dealt with this, like the Sagamore Sewer. That was a private sewer transportation corporation to provide the sewer service to the 150-plus homes over there. So the concept here would be is that one of the lots that the supervisor described would be for the end treatment facility. That site has multiple levels of treatment because of the materials that they deal with. So we're speaking of the end sewer treatment plant, which is just the same as Sagamore was, or our plant, for that end product. All the other pre-treatments to remove the heavy metals and everything would still be the responsibility of the Global Foundries lot. So they're meeting with DEC. DEC said that, well, in order to be able to serve your lot, the new lot, plus John Jay High School, the Sports Dome, and anyone else in that area, it has to convert to a transportation corporation. Now, the town's role comes into play because in order for anyone to form a transportation corporation for either water or sewer, the town board must consent to its formation. And the reason for that is that under the law, if one day the operator would just abandon it, then the town is responsible for operating it. And the way that works is that we would create a sewer district which would encompass all of the properties that would be served by this facility. And if the operator walked away, then only those people who are using it would be responsible for the operation and maintenance. There'd be no debt incurred or anything like that. It's similar to many of the water districts that now we've purchased, but they already had water districts for it. So if this concept advances and is agreeable, there would be an agreement between the town and Global Foundries, who would be the owner of this corporation. It would set out certain security, performance bond, things like that to protect us. It would provide that if they did default or cease to operate, they would have to terminate the discharge of any of the heavy metals, pre-treatment, things like that. So there'll be a lot of safeguards, which we'll discuss as time goes on. But the benefit to us also with this is, as the supervisor indicated, they can provide treatment off-site. And we've spoken with the school district many times. They have an old treatment plant at John Jay High School that this would allow them to divert that sewage into this plant at 50% of the cost. It will reduce their cost of operation by almost 50%, which is savings for the school district. It would allow the dome to develop. It would offer sewer then to any of the existing or future businesses in that corridor. So that's the concept with the sewer.
Yep, and that'll be coming for the board. I know the town engineer is working on the map plan report, or in this case, I guess it is just 209Q service improvement, sewer.
Improvement area.
Improvement area for the sewer and for the water. So that will be coming before the board.
Did we pass the improvement areas?
You have a public hearing scheduled for May.
Public hearing for May.
Now, let's just, so as we don't get everyone confused too, because we deal with it every day, and just the 209Q, that's a reference to New York State town law, and it allows the town board, and we discussed this at the last workshop, But for instance, in this particular area, this would be the way that the money be raised to run the sewer line from the dome through the school district property to the treatment plant. The cost of that, and to anyone else that may connect there in that corridor, the cost of that will be borne by those properties that are benefited by it, not by the general fund. So that's the mechanism to get that money to build the public line. Once that public line, I mean, the dome has to run the pipe from their facility to the pump station or wherever they designed it in the public right-of-way, and then anyone else could connect into there, and it'd be pumped over to the Global Foundries plant, treated and discharged.
So that's separate from water? There'll be
Yes.
separate transportation corporations?
Correct.
Okay, number one. Number two, when they engineer the line from, say, the dome through the school to the site, the sewer treatment facility, what about future development? How will they know if there's going to be needed a pump station or what have you, whatever you build for those sort of things, that it will be large enough to accommodate more businesses that might want to?
What we talked about was in a phased approach. The first
Okay.
phase is up to 50,000 gallons. 50,000 gallons. Right now, our immediate demand is somewhere between 15 and 18,000 gallons. Okay, so even if you round up to, say, 20, there's still 30,000 gallons of excess capacity. That might handle, say, a hotel. Or
Right, right. And the 18 is really for the dome.
The key is for the dome.
Yeah.
So there's a point of about 50,000 where you can, scale the scope of the project. We talked about the pipe we want to put in one time to handle more flow, but the pump station we're going to keep on a smaller size. We don't know what the future is going to bring
Right.
behind the dome.
Right, so say,
gonna be
so
100,
what would
200.
happen in the future there? Whatever future development would come, they would incur the
There-
cost for a
Yes.
new pump station or what have you?
It could be an
Okay.
upgrade, an expansion, replacing the pumps, or possibly even a new force main. Depends on what their scope is.
Yeah.
Because that would be the main trunk line, I'm assuming, that they would always use for that whole site.
Well, not necessarily.
Not necessarily, it's a
Okay.
big site.
Yeah.
There is an existing force main towards the rear that potentially could be used, but we
looked
investigated
at
that
that
a while
one,
back.
yeah.
There has been some damage, but for a big enough project, it might behoove them to, fix
Do
that
their own,
line
right.
and utilize that line.
Okay, because
good
since
point.
we did changed our zoning to allow different uses there, I'm sure that there's going to be more and more.
Many varied uses,
So,
yes.
I want to look for the future that
Oh, absolutely.
can accommodate
The key is
whoever
the
and
sewer
whatever
plant.
wants to come,
The key is the capacity of the sewer plant,
Right. which is huge.
right.
Yeah. So that's a very big, but obviously with the dome being built, there's a time factor involved.
Understood.
And I might add, without the Sewage Transportation Corporation, there's no obligation to provide sewer to any other part of the West Complex.
Okay.
So you have to get it to be a Sewer Transportation Corporation to enable it to be able to serve properties out there. So right now, the West Complex, even if that pipe in the back worked, could not connect to the sewer plant.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that's kind of frozen right as it is, because when that transaction took place between IBM and the original purchaser, they only had a limited time to be able to treat the sewage.
Yeah. So Sewer Transportation Corporation will be coming to us in several months. And then also about the water, we're just talking with Global Foundries, and, they use approximately 1.92 million gallons of water a day in their processing. And we've talked about different options, either forming a transportation corporation also for water, or if the town would purchase it and then immediately pass it through to Global Foundries, and they would, pay for it. We'd have a contract for them paying for it, but that would allow us pretty much unlimited capacity, whatever we needed off the Dutchess County water line. So that's also, as you develop the west site, and with the 300 acres that the IBM, or the Global Foundries is going to subdivide off their site, there's going to be a very big need for water. And, this is one way that we could accommodate those needs, because again, you need sewer and water, to have redevelopment, industrial development is very important. So these are two of the biggest things, and we'll be hearing a lot more about this in the next few months. And Tom, anything on the water? I think that about sums it up. We're still really talking
Right.
about the
We're
water.
probably going to be leaning towards recommending the formation of a water district. And
Yes.
then, as the supervisor said, that would give us great flexibility to utilize that water out of the line, which helps other issues.
Yeah. So we'll be seeing that in the future. But I got to tell you, it's really good to see that the dome is being built. I think that's a very positive turn of events for the former West Complex, and the fact that Global is coming before the planning board, looking to a 3-lot subdivision. I think that, you know, things are starting to happen, so we're very excited about that.
Now, the water and sewer that's out there, this is, because you're saying for future expansion? That's only for that site, so if the delis and stuff across the street,
No.
they can't
Well, we
get in
asked
it.
them, they're,
I think Scott has reached out, I mean, to the various businesses there. I don't know if you have a response for all yet, do you?
Yeah, we just have, the existing Archway Plaza wants sewer.
So they
They all
want,
want water, they all want water, but only Archway right now wants sewer.
but there is capacity to satisfy
They
their
all
needs.
wanted to jump in, they
Right,
could.
and if they come in later on, then there's the typical buy-in fee
right,
that's
buy-in
required
fee
and
at
all
that
of that, so.
But just because, okay, say you wanted to get in, and you got to cross my property to get in, do I have to pay if I'm not going to hook up, is what that's kind of what I'm wondering.
the current time, no.
Because kind of,
No.
you know, it's kind of like what we're up the street, where the DEC says, or the feds are saying, you're going to hook into that water system.
But that's more for the health issue that
Yeah.
as the
Right.
feds see it.
I don't think we're going to mandate
Yeah,
anyone
but
to
here
go
we,
into the sewer.
there is no obligation, because we're,
But are they going to pay the
no,
basic
they
cost?
wouldn't, but what would happen is if they wait 5 years and then they come to buy in, there's a formula under the law that requires them to pay the principal part of what they would have paid had they been there for the 5 years. So they're really just kicking it down the road.
Yeah, but can this company isn't a town-type company, that they can make money on this company? Sewer system.
Well, there's two
No.
options.
Well, no, wait, let me just clarify that.
Yeah.
Anything in the business area is going to be a town sewer district. The town will then have the contract with the Sewage Transportation Corporation. And that will be part of the agreement in your consenting to it. We will have the parameters of that agreement worked out so that no one is at anyone's mercy. And don't forget, the way Sagamore became an issue for the town was the operator of it has to come to the town board to set their rates. And that would be the same here.
Okay.
So,
Okay, that's all I was scared about.
Or the Public Service Commission?
no,
Water-
sewer
sewer,
is set
okay,
by the
sewer.
town board.
Okay.
So Tom, we need to put the Sewage Transportation Corporation into act in order to really get the ball rolling for that
Correct.
area over there.
Correct.
We will be controlling, if in case Global Foundry moves out,
Correct.
we will be in charge, but until that time, they will be taking care of
Their
that.
new company will do that, and the rates and rules will be approved by the town board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and the contract, as far as we putting this into place, will be up to you working those contracts and us
Right now,
doing it?
right, to just bring you up to date on that, you all have to approve it in the end, but right now, they have to go through the regulatory authorities, the Health Department and the DEC. So they've started there, I think they're further along with the Health Department. They're having a meeting with the DEC because they also have issues about how their lot is formed that the planning board's going to be looking at. So they're hoping to get through all of those things, and then we'll work out the fine details before it comes back to you. So, yeah, I think we're optimistically a few months, but I think more maybe 6 months away of really getting into the meat and potatoes of it.
All right, that's good news.
yes, very,
Get the
very
ball moving
positive. All right, so we'll be hearing a lot more about water and sewer as we go. So I just want to let everybody know. So. All right, and that's really what I wanted to discuss tonight. We just liaison reports. I'd like to report on the police department. Really not too much going on, nothing to report this month. I know that we were all kind of disappointed. We had an issue with the police department where they actually grieved us reading their contract for, I believe it was, they wanted quadruple pay for Christmas is how they read the contract. Same contract wording has been there for a long time, but they did grieve us, and we tried to reach a compromise. I think it was quadruple time for Christmas and Thanksgiving, and I forget what it was it triple time, I think it was,
Well,
for the rest of the holidays.
The way the contract's been paid is if you work Thanksgiving or Christmas, you get triple time.
Yeah.
They pointed a grievance was
Wow.
a clause that's been in the contract for many years.
Many years.
They are now interpreting it that they
Differently.
should really get quadruple time.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of disappointing because I thought we had come to an agreement where we could compromise on this, but that's not going to happen. So we'll have to either address it in the contract, and contract negotiations with the PBA will be starting, I believe, next month,
Right, the last Wednesday of this month.
last Wednesday of this month. So
And
that'll be one of,
Councilman Marinaro, myself, and the controller have already met. We're meeting
okay.
a couple more times to put together
Yeah.
some of our wish list
Yeah.
to account
but
to what
that is
their
one of
wish
the things
list
that we're
is.
going to address will be the wording of the holiday pay in the
Correct.
contract.
Correct.
Okay, so we'll move forward with that and hopefully get everything squared away. For the police, that's all I have to discuss. Peter, anything on highway?
Well, a couple things. One, I'd like to, East Fishkill, the town cleanup day. We had a pretty good turnout for the rain that we had. I'd like to thank East Fishkill Provision for supplying lunch, Hopewell Hot Bagels for supplying bagels for breakfast, and Royal Karting for supplying the dumpster. Special thanks to the police department for showing up. They had probably about 40, 50 about 20 people here. As far as some of the other sports and communities and areas in the town, I heard they were here, but I didn't see them. And I even had Nick D'Alessandro with his cane and walker and everything show up. He was there. I'd like to, they're sweeping the town, out sweeping the roads now. They've done a lot of cleanup around. I did talk to Bill. I went over to his site, and one thing I think we have to look at is tires.
Oh, good point. Actually, I believe that the policy, and Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, the policy in the past was the town would accept so many tires from residents per day or something. Was there a limit?
Depot's closed as per the supervisor.
No, I know that. I'm just saying, what had the policy been in the past?
Tires a day.
6 tires, was it? Yeah. And it appeared there had been some abuse to that policy, so we've had immediately closed it.
Good idea.
Yeah, we need to do that. I do believe, I think Royal Karting might take them, but you have to pay for it, but I think,
Purchase a tire, you're paying a disposal fee through New York State Waste. So you should be giving your
back to where you bought them.
tires back to the people you
Okay.
purchased the new ones from. And if not, Royal and numerous other organizations accept tires
Yeah,
for a fee.
yeah. But because of the abuse, the town of East Fishkill will not be taking tires any longer.
It costs the town taxpayers
And we know that, yeah.
on the average of about $1,000 a month for disposal of tires. The original concept was, I apologize.
No, that's okay. We kind of get into these little conversations off.
The cost of town taxpayers approximately $1,000 a month, anywhere from $850 to $1,150 a month, depending upon time of year. The original concept, from my understanding, talking to the previous supervisor, highway superintendent, that it was for, if we pick road tires up, things like that, we collected them, then disposed of them at a convenience. Then it became a policy that homeowners could bring up to 6 tires. But unfortunately, we've had some abuses, more than some, and I believe it got out of hand. So it's been corrected. All the tires have been disposed of, and there's a closed sign, and it's been posted that, we do not accept tires anymore.
Great.
So the only ones we'll have will be town tires and...
No, when we buy our tires under state bid, we turn our casings back in again,
Yep, good.
like we're supposed to.
That's something I never really knew, that, so if I buy tires, I just bought 4
There's a
tires
fee on
last
the
year,
tire fee.
and so I just bring them back to where I bought them when I'm done with them.
That's correct.
Wow, very good, good to know.
They charge you when they sell you the new tire.
They never told me what they're charging me
It's right
for.
on
They
your
just
bill.
said, we're giving you the best tires in the world.
It's right on your bill. Something that I know I'm kind of out of place here, but we were just talking about highway and parks. Unfortunately, only one person was, patted on the shoulder for the great job he's done. We have 28 people who have done a fantastic job. And everybody has pitched in between the highway and parks to get all the highway work done, all the parks work done, and the field work done. So I'd like to thank
Yeah.
all the men and women in the highway and parks, and not just one.
Yep, they've done a great job of going around over there with Bill. I rode around one morning for a little while, and
Yep,
I didn't recognize it. I thought it was somewhere else for a couple of the areas.
doing a very good
The whole
job.
team over there and done a good job.
Yep, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay, Councilman Alessandro, Planning and Zoning.
Yeah, planning and zoning's been a little quiet. Agenda's been a little bit light lately, but we are planning to do a training session for members of planning and zoning.
Oh.
And gonna, I think, do it in town hall.
Good.
The secretary will be notifying the members of the planning and zoning board. Also, I spoke with the town planner. Right now, she's been working on several other things, and she's been working out wonderful,
Yeah.
by the way. And we're soon to be discussing streamlining the applications for planning, zoning, and going to the building department, too.
Oh, good.
So,
Very good news, and she is working out very well.
excellent.
And her big undertaking, which I think is terrific, it's long overdue, is to update the town zoning map. Because there's
Yeah,
been...
that's her undertaking.
That creates a lot of confusion for many property owners, and she's working with the staff there to update it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, she's doing a great
That's
job.
always been a personal peeve of mine for years, that the map just left a lot to be desired. And so I think, especially with the GIS overlay system with the county, you can really get it more precise and clean up a lot of the problems that we have.
Good, and she has been a true asset to the town.
Ah,
We
excellent.
just did our lead agency mailing yesterday, and she did all the secret work and got the mailing together. She's very good. Very happy to have her. Good. Councilman Franco, Recreation, we talked a little bit about it.
We talked a lot about opening day, which
Yes,
is
we
a
did.
success. Baseball continues to work with the town. They donated 2 scoreboards, them in softball, that are being put up right now. Other than that, everybody is very happy. Heard a lot of really great feedback. Kids are out there. That's the most important thing.
Good, very good. Thank you very much. Councilman Marinero, Hillside Lake Special Park District?
Yeah, the Hillside Lake District, at their quarterly meeting this week, there was a good attendance. Quite a few people showed up. There is some anticipation of what's going on. They hear stories, and they have questions, a lot of questions regarding the projects, the way it was proposed, and the new propositions relocating into a different areas. I met with the town supervisor a couple of days before, asked some questions. We do not have the answers to these questions yet because of what's going on with all the approvals. So that's what I was able to tell them, basically that. Couple of questions that came up from a few of them was as far as renewage with the change of plans, if there is going to be an additional fee for creating a new project in a different site. So that was
Yeah.
one of their questions. I don't know if we have the answers to that.
Yeah, I don't believe there will be, to be honest with you, the way I'm looking, and I did ask after we had our conversation, I contacted Stephen Gruber from Renewage and told him when we get approval, he'll do his final design. I know he's contacted surveyors already. Once we get the final design, he's gonna have a public presentation for the community.
Right.
But once we get it down, the way I'm looking at it, one of the things, he did want to use part of the beach area because he felt that would be most appropriate and a cost savings. So we want to keep it, the way I look at it, if we can keep it, I don't believe we'll be going over budget with what we've been allotted, but we want to keep a handle on all the costs, because if we can, then we can use those monies towards hopefully other things, such as removing lily pads. One thing too, and I told you the other day that one of our engineers came up with was aeration.
Right.
The thought about, look, you're going to bring the water in, you're going to filter it, you're going to bring it in from the far side of the lake. Why don't you put in 2 aerators? So when you get the lily pads done, you can also filter it and aerate it, and that way you'll keep it clean and oxygen to the lake. So that was something we put in. And we feel we can still do that within budget.
Right. Yeah, there was great concern, again, as far as that. There are questions about, is the new system going to clean up as much of the lake as previously noted? Again, these are not questions I could have answered at that meeting, but probably, as you have stated, John, we could probably have another meeting so that the community
Absolutely.
gets to ask the questions and they get their answers. It's very
That's
important.
actually provided right now, we have to get this contract from DEC. So yes, a lot of information's been
Right.
given into about it. When we finally get that contract, it's like a work in progress. Then there has to be a series of outreach meetings under the grant. There has to be discussion. And then the design is, even though, quote, we're talking about final, it's not finalized
Right.
until after that process. And then DEC finally gives you the go-ahead and signs the contract, and you start building. So there's a lot of
They would
public
also,
opportunity.
they also ask questions as far as time frame. I know that when we signed some documents, we tried to kind of put the permits in place for possibly start working in May.
Yeah. Well, we're looking to, I think, to actually put a shovel in the ground probably into the summer, but getting the permits and everything and the approvals.
Because our biggest upfront delay now has been with DEC getting and it's, they told us upfront it would be 90 days before and we haven't gotten
Yeah,
paperwork.
I figured that. The other question that they had, a couple of people asked was, I spoke to the town lawyer about it, and they again asked for the dissolving of the park district. So the town lawyer is going to look into that paperwork and start some kind of documentation, so that's basically it.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I think that's it for tonight. I didn't have too much on the agenda, so it's a rather short meeting. The next town board meeting is April 28th, 2016. That'll be our voting meeting. And we'll have quite a bit of work at that meeting. It's just one of those meetings we have a lot of housekeeping to do. So with that,
Supervisor, I just add one thing?
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Town engineer speaks up.
A request came in from Central Hudson for access.
That's one of the things will be,
For access through one of our parcels. to
Yes.
gain, For a transmission line that runs east to west, that kind of heads out towards Four Corners.
is
to
that
the
Pell
east,
Bridge?
And
Pell's-
it's behind Pine Brook Loop. and it
Pine
kinda-
Brook
and then it
Loop,
heads to
yeah.
Fishkill through there.
Yeah, yeah,
So they're asking for a temporary agreement
Yeah,
to gain
to
access.
go through
and
our
then ultimately
property to
they would
gain
like to have a
access.
permanent easement through
yeah.
there.
And they'd like a permanent
Right,
easement.
so they're giving
Right.
us some paperwork that will,
And is this Con
Not
Ed
a
or
new line, it's to renovate an existing line, and
Yeah.
it would only be for access in and out
right,
for the
basically to
equipment for it.
maintain the existing poles, replace the existing poles.
Okay, it's not going to be hugely, we're not putting in huge poles, they're just going to,
No,
Just access.
good, good, good. And is this Central Hudson?
Central Hudson.
Okay, okay, very good. So that's one of the things. When you say have everything on the agenda done by the week before, and then things like this come up all the time,
Yep.
they need an easement
2 weeks,
agreement
so
or
we're
something.
lucky.
I know, but we're not done yet.
So they can't do the work without the agreement?
Right.
Right.
But we-
And
It's illegal.
just while we're talking about complexities, just Con Edison owns one of the power lines that goes through the Global Foundry site. The sewer line from the
Well, that's
dome
why I
and
was
everything has
asking.
to go through under the Con
Con Ed.
Edison right-of-way. The Public Service Commission, about 6 months ago, changed the rules for utilities to give access under power lines, so that now we have to revise everything that you usually do. And once we come to an agreement with Con Ed that they say, yeah, we're comfortable with the pipe, it then has to ship off to Albany to the Public Service Commission and get the approval. So they probably added, 4 to 6 months into a process. And we're also finding there was a subdivision approved for 10 lots, and one of the driveways has to go under or across a Central Hudson easement, but they too have gotten delayed now because it has to go through this new process.
But that's
So
their problem.
a lot of these things are evolving, and we're dealing with them as we go along.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And that's why I asked, if this was Con Ed asking for an access agreement, well, then
We
we
would have a little
then we could
different-
talk. But unfortunately,
Central
Central
Hudson.
Hudson.
Yeah, Tom, it's always easy and it's always nice for these big companies to come and ask for easements. And then when it's for them to give up permission, they give us a hard time. I mean, not only to the public, but also to private. I mean,
Yeah, it is the bureaucracy too
Yep.
that you have to go through.
Yep.
It's just amazing.
it's
But-
unbearable. That's New York State, unfortunately.
Yeah, but to Tom and Scott's point about going through Con Ed, actually, we're also looking at a Plan B. If it turns out that we have issues going through Con Ed, we might have to run the sewer line a different way. So I believe, Scott, we're going to submit to the DOH with two different
Both
routes.
routes, correct,
Two
both
different routes, just in case. So, but,
Maybe with the agreement for Central Hudson, we could
that was the
make
Con
it.
Ed.
No, well, the first one, we could have subject to a 20% reduction in our electric fees.
Very good. Not a bad idea.
All righty, but no, that's a good point. That's one of the things that will be on the agenda for the end of the month. So that being said, thank you very much, everybody, and we'll see you on the 28th.
Bring them up.